Hey guys, May here. So this will be a short video. I always cover language topics, decoding language. What's the real meaning? What's the esoteric meaning of the alpha beta wave system that we call the alphabet? How it essentially the verbiage, the vernacular that we use to communicate, to commune with one another in this system, essentially is devised or designed, if you will, to create an inverted reality, inversion reality, where it essentially, I'm just going to explain this, where it keeps you as the under surrender. In other words, it keeps the who man in the state of powerlessness. Now, so some of the things that I talk to you about, and the most essential reason why I created the channel, and what I can offer you from my wisdom and knowledge and readings and the codes that I receive via the right hemisphere, the right side. I will tell you this. This is really important. Is the language we use. We know that we are speaking as often as the victim or without power. But here's what I'm getting at. I always want to uplift you, pun intended, uplift you. So to raise consciousness, to raise your level of frequency and your connection to the invisible sun, which is the invisible self. Here's what we have to do. We have to be mindful of the language that we speak, that we verberate. You verberate from Stella Turcica. That's the tortoise, the turtle. That's Taurus, that's Venus. But Mars is governing that. Okay? And they're in opposition. Okay? In the words of Led Zeppelin, ramble on. Right? Doesn't that make sense? It makes a lot of sense when we think about it. And I will expand on that more coming up. Shoot the bull. Why is there a bullseye? There's a bullseye because you in your lower, if you were to place your hand on the lower half of your face, right, and neck down, and that includes the thyroid, etc. This whole region is governed by Venus and is the bull. Shoot the bull. Right? Speaking. That's just speaking. Bullseye. Shoot the bull. Bullseye. Well, it's all connected. And here's what I'm getting at with language. We are speaking this vernacular. Essentially, we're speaking the whole existence into existence, believe it or not. Everything begins with thought form, toth form. Everything originates with thought form, right? But then we act it out as we speak. And I'm going to tell you something right now that I don't know if you've ever thought of. Has anyone ever talked to you about the fact that you text all day? Who are we serving? Who are we serving when we text? Isn't texting a series of angles and patterns? Isn't texting speaking essentially? Of course it is. Of course it is. So I have taken on the, lately, I would say, especially more in the last couple of years, I have taken on a different path, if you will. And there's certain grammar and letters, or not necessarily letters. Well, that's all a word is a combined sequence of letters, but it's inverted intentionally. That's why, in the words of Led Zeppelin, words have two meanings, right? Here's the thing. Okay is a great example. I'm just going to give you examples. We use this one a lot in text, right? And so I am in my revolutions we're in the age of revelations and revolutions and resolutions. And one of my resolutions in the revolutions of the revelations is to give up okay to the best that I can. What is an alternate way of saying okay that would be more powerful, to empower the who man, to empower the EYE, which emanates, which is you? What is the better? Wouldn't it be I am? If you study esoteric knowledge related to astrotheology to any degree, you will quickly learn that I am is I am. I am is Jesus. It is Jesus in French. Maya. I am. The illusion. The illusionary world. So there's certain, you think, hey May, there's no way that a little two-word, there's no way that these letters, really? That's because it doesn't want, the lower dimensional forces don't want you made aware of this. Sure, you know that words cast spells. Your words is your sword, right? 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 And it has to do with the stick, with the spine. And we reverberate with our vertebrae, our 33 vertebrae. And that is why the 33 going up the spine is symbolic for the Freemasons and the staircase, right? This makes sense when you look at Freemasonry, the art. And they know that to reach the top is between the temples, and that is the land created without the hand or with the invisible hand. That's the temples, and that's your brain. And that's Aries, and that's Ram. And in there houses the Thoth, the thought forms. However, we speak everything in and think, of course, in existence with language. It's an algorithm. Lago, language, angles. I speak Anglish. So I come to you only in an effort to uplift you. And what you could consider is removing some very commonplace words, lingo, right? Modern lingo. You'll notice how there are certain words and phrases that are added into our system, right? Essentially, all the time. I can bring up anything over the last few years. I created a whole video, and I love you to the moon and back. What nonsense that is. Nobody's even been to the moon. You can't. So how ridiculous is that? But we're surrounded by a sea of idiots, if I'm being honest. And here's the thing. These phrases come into the quantum field somehow supernaturally. Is it a type of black magic? Of course it is. Just as words are. Just as I speak to you. Of course it's a type of scrying. They're usually, did they originate with the scry, the black mirror in which I speak to you on? Likely. It's a supernatural force. It's metaphysical. However, we act it out when we have released power to a certain extent. But you're like, well, I can't help but speak, and I can't. Of course, you need to speak, and you need to text, and you even think. But there are certain things that you can do. You can absolutely eliminate common lingo, and that's the objective here in the agenda that I have in this talk with you. Okay, so, why would that be a problem? Well, K for control, as in SKU, storage control unit, which is the brain, double L 24 in gematria. K for control, Germanic origin, and MK, you know the rest, mind control, that's K. You can goggle it. That's another word that I don't say, because that's that's offering the lower dimension. That's another. To goggle is another commonplace term used in this system to uphold this frequency, this high density existence, file-based existence, which relies on data. So the data that is accrued in this system stems from language, texting, typing, writing, everything, and it's all, if you think about it, you can't even imagine how many angles and patterns we use on a moment by moment, even just on thought alone. But on communing with your fellow humans, you scribe, subscribe, transcribe, right? All the time. I mean, if you walk into a doctor's office, you walk into an airport, what do you see? Heads down. What are they doing? They're operating. They're essentially functioning by way of the supernatural black magic and casting spells. somehow they're using the human, the avatar, as a vessel, and that's nothing to be scared of. You can't, because it's a part of us. It's a layer of consciousness. You just want to. Here's what I can tell and what I receive by my transmitter receiver, my antenna that's cast to the right side. Here, right side. Here is what I receive. Is that to tread with caution, be wary, of the supernatural forces, their layer of consciousness. There's always a spiritual battle. That's why you see a spiritual battle with the East and the West. One hemisphere of the brain, another hemisphere of the brain. There are two, left and right, East and West, right? And there's always going to be a battle playing out on the theater of the earth. It's analogous to that which is going on in the earth body of the avatar. And that's right. And you can find that in astronomy and astrology. So a lot of astrologers, I'm not sure, but do they practice ancient traditional astrology that is connected to black magic and the supernatural? They should, because if they did, then they understand that these are waveforms, they're energies, and they are operating throughout the human body, throughout the vessel, from the very smallest atom, which is at ohm, right, and even Venus, even us, right, day and night. I mean, the whole system that we have in our avatar is essentially analogous to the earth body. So, and in this little talk with you, I'm not going to expand on that too much. This is more about the verbiage that we use and the lingo that is implemented into the system intentionally. It's an intentional force. And it pushes you on a subconscious level, right? Just like we are in the yellow submarine. We all live in, the yellow submarine, right? The guy in the boiler room trying to control the grid. However, when you take power and you notice these lingos inserted, I can think of so many. There are so many, and it's happening all the time. And we could say catchphrases to be wary of, and be mindful of what you text, the language you text. I'm doing my best to limit mine. I've got gloves. I've got a pen. I use a pen when I operate the phone. I now view it for what it is. It's a type of weapon or a tool used by the lower dimensional forces to obtain my data, my knowledge, my energy, the soul contract. And there's no release until you can at least, and I know it's hard. But until you can come to terms with what the system or the black mirror that in which we hold in our astrological hand, and it's the Zodiac. Your hand is the Zodiac. Both your hands. Everything is on a more minuscule microcosm of the macrocosm. So language, the algorithm of language, lets us be cautious. So as you're texting, like I said, I wear gloves. I use a pen. It's a pen to keep the radiation off. I have a retro handset for the phone, for the ear. I would never, you couldn't pay me $1 million to put a Bluetooth in my ear. It's never been, and it never will. So to be more analog, log into the analog. Do you know what's so fun, guys? I'm going to tell you right now. I don't care, agree or don't agree. You know what's the most fun you're missing right now? Is putting a pen on a piece of paper in a notebook. It's unbelievable fun. It's out of this world fun. Don't lose your penmanship. That's how, and I'm going to tell you something right now. It's a great way to cast your spells on that which you want. This is a major tenet of occult knowledge, is to access that which you want which it's all being created by layers of consciousness dynamically, moment by moment. But to access what you want can never just happen with thought. You must write it down. Sure, you must feel it. There's all, there's all of those components, but you must write it down with a pen to paper. Electronically, I'm not saying if you relay what you want in a text that it won't happen. I'm not saying that. But it's still a surrender to the lower dimensional forces. Reverting to the analog is experiencing the present through the past. The tools are there. We can see them. Whether it's painting, sketching, gardening, walking, writing, everything is there. But it's a dropping the devices. A prisoner of your own device, right? Essentially. But how? Because it's through language. Even when you watch dogs skateboarding on TikTok, it's a language. That's why they love the letters, the big letters and the words. I have to use them, to relay my spiritual insight to you. There's no other option, right? It's through patterns and angles. You can't totally avoid it and survive well without complicating and tangling things too much in this grid, in the matrix, which is also a metrics, right? It's a coded system. So just be wary of the lingo, and that's the takeaway from this little talk on language. So for me, one what would you say? One method for changing, I will say, instead of the infamous okay, I am, right? I am, as it is in astrotheology, in the Bible. Hey sweet is I am, and he is showing you I am, right? Jesus explains that you are everything he is and more, because he's inside of you. The kingdom of heaven is inside of you, right? You can experience the heaven by way of the EYE and taking control of it, but you get handcuffed in a state of arrested development when we get tied to their language system. That's why, I'm going to say this before I close, the Freemasons don't speak in English. When they write in other words, they do, from what I've been told, there's codes that they use, right? There's mirror writing, you could even, when you write pen to paper, create your own codes, look at A-E-I-O-U, the 5 vowel to the L, right? That's a lot of their power is through the A-E-I-O-U. Every part of the alpha beta wave system. And I will tell you, I'll leave you with one other tenet of that, is that the alpha beta wave system that we are speaking in, the lower waves, the first letter, and this is esoteric knowledge, and it's true, and it's in a text. I'm going off of memory, but I'm going to tell you. The first letter of the alphabet denotes or negates the entire alphabet. Do you want to know why? It's A. So A produces a negative effect. So the original first letter of the alphabet, and I can prove it to you, is actually B in esoteric knowledge. That's why B is to be or not to be. And there, when you are born, B, there is a baby. It's B. So the A, you will see in Masonic symbolism often as the projector. It's the projected field. It's symbolic of the inversion of this existence in a projected field. We are in not Project Bluebeam. We are in Project Bluebeam. Look at the A and look at the V. That represents your two eyes and the third eye ventricle behind the pituitary, right? You've got the pituitary, it creates a V. So there is AI in the SKULL, Storage Control Unit double L. There is AI there. What am I saying? There's AI inside of the avatar? Absolutely. And people want to scare you with this nonsense all over on these. I can't listen to some of the nonsense. They're going to enter barcodes and all that. You know, you have this is we're born with this, with the wireless anatomy. It's from this point on what you do, but to fear is to surrender also. So there is no fear. It's just what we need as the who man is to just take control over it, to be aware of it, to be cautious, to use their supernatural tools like the cell, the prison, the cell phone is what we need is to just use them wisely and cautiously, especially when it comes to in terms of language and the algorithm. So what I'm getting at is that it's already there. We're born with the skew, right? And then you're assigned a 9-digit number. How ironic. There's 9 luminaries, 9 deities, and we got a 9-digit number. Okay. So do you see the connections? So we're born with that. We're born with the skew. We have the wireless, we have the equipment. The who man has we're a type of, for sure, a type of hybrid. We are the aliens, the true who mans with the true soul. We're having an experience here, and that's all it is. It's an experience. The file. Life is a file. Philosophy, file experience. And I can give you a list, and I'll save that for another time, of the similarities to a computer, which ironically, computer, similar to Jupiter, right? I mean, you can see all the signs, not just Thursday, Thorsday, and Jupiter is a benefic, but they're not, even the good ones are not all good, and the bad ones are not all bad. It's so much of it is just perception and the fact that you own it. You own it. The who man needs to own the system, his own solar system. You are autonomous. Consider this your solipsis. You're in solitude. That's the soul. You're perceiving an experience of beautiful green trees and blue skies and everything around you. It's perceived. But you must see while perceiving that you're also being deceived. That it's not what's really around us. It's just what we see, limited to the 5 senses, ironically, like the 5 vow to the L. When actually, I'm coming to you on the layer of the 6th and the 7th sense, right? Because as you rise, I know they call it Kundalini. I'm not a fan of that word, whatever. But as you do rise, and the serpent harnesses the upper levels of consciousness and keeps rising, and it's activated, you will feel a sense of. You'll just feel the enlightenment, and that it's like a type of glowing knowledge, something separate from that which you see with your pupils. It's something that you see, you start to see something. You know the phrase, like the saying, hindsight. Well, it's similar to that, because the hindsight is the sight of the third eye. And you start, once you've hacked into that, because it's a computer, and once you've hacked into it, right, the codes start coming. You're in, right? Then you have the power. So I started this off with and I'll wrap it up now. Okay, eliminating that and saying, I am. Are you coming for dinner tonight? I am. You can't use it obviously in every conversation. However, you can just change some of the control codes. In other words, you take over the 10 commandments. You take over the commandments of the computer, which is speaking by way of Venus shooting the bull, right? The shooting of the bull. But you don't want the bullseye on you, right? You want to control the shooting. You want to shoot the film. You want to shoot everything around you. Because you shoot a picture from a negative. Look how the moon looks. Look at her. Look at her. Look at the artifice of the moon. It's like, it's a negative. It's an X-ray, right? So she's shooting, right? The deities shoot energy. They shoot waveforms every second of every moment of your experience here, right? It's photons, it's electrons, right? But here's the thing. The point is for you to take control over that in everything, every little bit of verbiage that you use, right? Especially in text, because we're essentially transcribing and subscribing so the lower dimensional forces can win in the spiritual battle. So we must use caution with that. And I'll tell you, I just met a man in a record store and was just talking to him yesterday, and he has no cell phone. He has no cell phone. So I'm about to dumb down and remove my smart technology. I'll still create for you always until they take me away, the men in black in the SUV, when they pull up. But they will be sorry, because I'll tell you they'll be sorry, as they've entered the lion's den. And I am a lion, I am a Leo, I'm double. So good luck with that. Have mercy on their soul when they take me. But I will still create these videos for you somehow. Maybe it'll be from somewhere I don't really want to be. But, however, I was still, because I care about the Who Man. I truly care about the Who Man more than anything. And that's the soul Who Man, not the robot Ottomans. Not the robot Ottomans. Not in the same way that I do for you. And I always say, I am on your side. So let's use caution with our vernacular, and that includes texts, right? Grab it. Next time you see a pen, before it's in a museum, grab it. Log into the analog, give it a shot. See if you still got good penmanship. Move away from the cell. Open the cell. Because we put ourselves in our own prison. It's so ridiculous. Crack the door open. The key, the ankh. The ankh is there in the Egyptian terms. The ankh. Use the ankh. Unlock it. Unlock that door. Step out of it. Log into the analog. Harness your solar plexus now while sun is in Leo, right? We all have the lion in us. Those of us with real souls, which is actually few and far between. Now, I was a lot long-winded on this, but if we were to outline, essentially what I've said to you is to just use caution with the swords, with the words in which you speak, with the spell casting, and don't give the lower forces your wisdom. Don't give it away now, in the words of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Don't give it away, because that's what they want. That's what they want. And for you, what you want is to activate the power, uplift, right? And I will stop there. I have much more to create. I hope there was something you could take away from this. Even if it means writing down, jotting down a few words. Write the alphabet if you can't think of anything. Yeah, it's the alpha beta wave system, but at least it's on paper, and you're not giving away all your power when it's on paper. It's treasured by you. It's for you, and it can be only for you. You could write a letter to someone, it's for someone else, then you can include them, and that's a really cool way of communicating. So I will conclude there. And I love to see your thoughts and your comments. What do you think about shooting the bull, ramble on, right? Interesting, these hidden in plain sight. Occult knowledge is right there. It's there for us to see and to decode, and essentially there to understand better the commandments and to command your own solar system. You are the commander-in-chief. You are the God. You are the CEO. And it rests inside of you, inside of that ram, inside of Mars. Is Elon Musk going to Mars? Of course he is, because he wants to harness your consciousness. He wants your toths. Of course, Mars. Smart. Oh, Elon Musk is going to Mars. Yeah, really? No, not in a physical sense. But in a spiritual sense, they would love that. Get it? Do you get it? It's the writing's on the wall. In the words of Pink Floyd, all we are is another brick in the wall. Well, what's the wall, May? The wall is the membranes of the brain. That's what the wall is. That's what the Facebook wall is when you interface which is why I don't do it. I mean, I'm removing it steadfastly, actually, and I'll occasionally post art and travel, but it's rare. It's not in my, thank goodness I won't allow it in my algorithm. So create your own algorithm. Don't subject yourself to subscribing to the lower dimensional forces. Okay? Get out of, remove yourself from the yellow submarine as best you can. And in the words of the song from the 90s, I want to go, remember, I want to go higher. Okay, you don't want me singing, I swear to God it'll go viral in the worst way. And that is exactly what I don't want. So I love to hear from you guys. More in the next one. Thanks for listening.